I remember that mastermind call like yesterday, where we was like, man, this is an environment where we don't know if nobody's gonna have 20,000 to put down. We don't know if they're gonna have 15, but this is with somebody new. And you told us stay the course, like they out there. And even when you were saying that, I was still like, I don't know. You said they out there. And sure enough, they were out there.
Hey everyone, it's Jamel Gibbs. Welcome to another podcast episode. Today, we're doing a very special podcast edition. We're doing something a little different where we actually have a successful real estate investor, a successful student who just closed on his first real estate deal. So I wanted to bring him on this podcast to talk about some of the hurdles that he jumped over and some of the things that he faced getting started in the business, and also how he was able to accomplish a pretty good sized deal. We'll talk about the intricate details of that particular deal on this podcast today. I want to welcome George Brown to the call. What's going on, George?
Jamel, how you doing today, man? Glad to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh man, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure, man. So I've known you since I want to say March. Has it been
right around March is when we made our first contact with each other.
Right around March. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kind of get into a little bit of detail on how we came across each other and what we were able to accomplish up until now.
Okay. Well, I'm originally from Washington, D.C. Prior to getting into real estate investing, I did corporate America for over 20 years. I was a district manager for Advanced America, which is a finance company. And early on, I knew that I wanted to be in something that had purpose, that helped people, that also helped and educated others to get where they wanted to get. I learned that it wasn't about me. Once I got to a certain plateau, that more so I wanted to be able to help other people get where they wanted to be at. So right at the top of the year, when I was transitioning out of corporate America and knew that I wanted to do my own thing, I was trying to figure out what would give me that same purpose, what would also allow me to take the tools and the skills that I had from my prior 20 years in corporate America and transition that over into my own business, where I still got up every day and felt as though that I was bringing value to somebody's life and being able to help them. And I was very intrigued by the real estate investment.
So what got you started in real estate? Like, what did you do first in order to really, well, let's take a step back for a second. When you think about real estate investing, obviously you said you were intrigued by it.
Mm-hmm.
As time went on, what made you start taking those steps? Like, what did you do first?
The first thing I had to do was figure out what was my why. What was my why? What was going to be my purpose? What was going to drive me each day that I got up to do this business? And then I started going in, then I went to the University of YouTube. And on the University of YouTube, I came across several seasoned vets and some not so seasoned, and started really taking in that information that was free. And I ran across several people that's been in the business a while. But then when I came across your videos and things like that, I was very impressed with how simplistic you were about delivering the information. You didn't make it be overcomplicated. I already knew that the business savvy I was, but this was still a new arena that I wasn't very aware of. And after listening to you, and after looking at one or two of your videos initially, I was like, this is something that I believe that I could do. This is something that I feel very good about wanting to do. And then next thing I know, day after day, I was sitting in my office, pen and pad for hours at a time, just looking at your videos and just soaking up all the information. And then I came to a point where I said, I want to do this thing, but I want to do it with all the mistakes. So that's when I said, let me reach out to you and let me invest in myself by investing in a mentor, somebody that can take me by the hand and show me step by step what to do and what not to do.
Awesome, man. I appreciate you, the patronage on the YouTube page as well. I try to deliver as much value as possible. I hope it comes across that I really do care about people's success, and I really do care about people, the information I put out for the people so that they can be able to take that information and really apply it into what it is that they're looking to accomplish out of this business. So how long did you wait? So from the time you actually decided, hey, I want to get started in real estate, to the time where you started watching these YouTube videos, how much of a window was that?
I would say maybe 2 to 3 weeks,
Two to
not
three
quite a
weeks.
month, but somewhere around there, because I was still going back and forth with, well, is it real estate investing? Is it something else? Is it another venture? Because one thing about me, I've never been afraid of jumping out there and trying. I've tried several other ventures in the past. Some did okay, some didn't do so great. And what I did know, that at this juncture in my life, that whatever my move was, it wasn't going to be a plan B. This was going to be my plan A.
Excellent, man. So literally, I mean, this is, we're in the current year, we're in 2020, right?
Mm-hmm.
You literally decided this year that you want to start investing in real estate. Then, a couple of weeks later, you're watching YouTube videos. Then a couple of weeks later, you're literally in a mentorship program with me.
Right.
I mean, it just happened like one after another, right? That's the
Right.
epitome of action taken, right? A lot
And
of
being
people.
decisive.
I'm sorry?
And being decisive in your decision making.
Being decisive, having a clear vision of what it is that you want. You started off. I love the fact that you said I started off with what my why is. A lot of people
Mm-hmm.
fail at that, right? They don't know what it is that they want. They see something that someone else has,
Right.
but then they don't necessarily apply it to themselves. They want what
Right.
someone else has, not what they actually want.
Right.
Right. So I love the fact that you talked about that. And then the clear action that it took to get to where you are right now, because of the reason why and the application, the actual action taking of what it took to get to where you are. I love that, man. I love that part of the story. And this is something that, let me ask you a question. The ending of last year, did you have any thought of real estate investing at all?
I did not.
You did not.
I did
So
not.
this is something that's literally brand new. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is there are people out here who've been consuming education. I know this for a fact. People who've been consuming education for years. I have people on my email list since 2008, 2007, who are still consuming information and haven't closed their first deal.
Wow.
It's because we call it info junkies. And I'm not trying to put a derogatory term on anybody, but people just don't have, let's call it what it is, man. They're info junkies, right? They consume information, and I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to maybe slap a couple people upside the head a little bit and say, here's somebody who just started this business, literally thought about it probably around February.
Mm-hmm.
We're in June right now.
Mm-hmm.
Within a couple of weeks, he started taking action. What's holding you back? What's holding, and I'm talking to the person watching this video right now who haven't started taking that action. What's holding you back? It's yourself, right? You can't blame it on anybody else but yourself. Don't be an info junkie. Information is good for a little bit, but the real value comes when you actually apply. When you get out there, you're not afraid to make mistakes.
Right.
George instantly started taking action after he had the thought. That's what separated him from everybody, from the 99% of the people that fail, right? That's why you have a 1% class and a 99% class. And the 1% actually takes action, right? And it's like that in every category of business. Sometimes people say they didn't know enough. Let me ask you this, George. How much did you know when you started investing, when you started looking into this business?
I knew zero.
Zero.
I knew absolutely zero. I didn't have a friend. I didn't have a neighbor. I didn't have a buddy that I grew up with that was doing it. I knew absolutely zero about the industry. I can honestly say that if I can do it, anybody can do it if you're willing to put yourself out there, and if you're willing. One thing you told us is that if you're willing to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Willing to be you got to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, right?
Yes.
So now let's take that a step further. So you obviously you had the thought process, you started taking action. How much fear did you have? Because that's another thing that people might say, well, he's a little more brave than I am. How much fear did you have?
No, I'm not going to say that I'm no different than anybody else outside of I jumped out and said, I've made the investment. I want to see an ROI on my investment.
That's it.
And so, I was scared as hell the first go around, just like anybody else. Scared of the fact that if this person asks me a question and I don't know the answer, what am I going to do? I didn't want to be that person that every time somebody asks me a question, give me 1 second, let me go call somebody, and I'll get right back. I'll be quiet in the past on being very, very fluent in whatever it is that I'm talking about, what I'm doing. So this has been very uncomfortable. This has been very challenging. And I can tell you at times that I've been on the emotional roller coaster just like anybody else. But the thing is that continues to drive me is that when I see other people out there getting it, and the only thing that's any different from them and me is that they took action, and I was being hesitant, and I jumped out there. And even with my first deal under me, I still got questions. I still may not have the answer that somebody may have for me on the next deal, but that's not going to stop me from going out there with that hunger for trying to find that next deal.
So what you're saying is you didn't have all the answers. You just did, and then figured it out as you went on, right?
Right.
Now, obviously, you made an investment into my mentorship program. How much, and this is just to be clear, a lot of people can't make the investment. Right. Initially, we actually had to move your package around a little bit in order for it to fit. It shows it's not all about the money for me, right?
Right.
We made something that worked for you, and made it happen. Was it a small investment?
It was I would say a substantial investment at the time when you're sitting here in between where you don't have that 9-to-5 guaranteed check coming in no more, and you're trying to be very strategic and smart with every dime that you spend, knowing that you don't have anything coming in at the moment, and you got a wife and a family that's looking to you to be like, okay, you've always been the provider and the breadwinner. How do you just go out there and make this type of investment, substantial investment? And what I was, another thing that drove me was that the fact that if I put it out here, I got to go out here and bring it back.
That's my point, right? So you made the investment, right? Mm-hmm. Which basically I call it skin in the game. All right. Mm-hmm. A lot of people approach me and they want free mentorship. And I'm not trying to put anybody out there. I've done free mentorship before in the past, years ago. You know what ends up happening? Because it's free, people don't take advantage. They don't fully take advantage of it. And it's not good use of my time personally. You know, and I'm just putting it out. I'm just being real, right? Mentorship costs money. You're buying somebody's time. But in turn, the value that you're going to get back from it should exceed your expectations. Right. So for me, although, I've had mentorship programs which were extraordinarily high in price when I was doing seminars. Right. And I've had low packages as well. Right. We have a mastermind. We're not necessarily doing a lot of mentorship now. We're doing more mastermind stuff. Right. But the whole point of me bringing that up is it's an investment into yourself. It forces you to have some skin in the game, because now when you have some skin in the game, you don't want to lose the investment because you didn't take action, because at that point, it's not on me, it's on you. Right.
Correct.
So
and it makes it easier for you to walk away from the opportunity.
So I'm sorry, say that again.
And it makes it easier for you to walk away from the opportunity the minute things go south, because you don't have any skin in the game. You haven't committed to anything. And what you've done is taken away from somebody else that really wanted to, because that mentor has spent time trying to pour into you, and it was all for nothing.
Exactly. So think about that for a second. And this is completely off topic, but think about this. George had a family, he had bills, he barely had the investment to put in to the mentorship program. But what did he do? He took the risk and he believed that he could get it done. And the results are showing today. And we're going to talk about some of the results he's gotten over the last couple of months. So it's been, we're talking March, April, May, June, about 3 months, a little shy of 3 months.
Yep.
First 90 days. Within that 90-day pocket, he closed his first deal. And it's a big deal. We're going to talk about it. But would you have changed anything? I know the investment was a lot back then for you.
Mm-hmm.
But was it worth it now looking back in hindsight?
It was, because you got to think, I've acquired the skill that I can take anywhere. You know, it doesn't confine me to North Carolina. It doesn't confine me to Georgia. It doesn't confine me to my home. I can be out poolside with my laptop, my phone, making deals happen.
That's right,
Spending
man.
time with my family, doing whatever I want to do. So it's all about what you want for you. And for me, the flexibility of my time was more important than any other thing that I could have invested in. That flexibility is priceless, absolutely priceless.
And I love the fact that you said you could be out poolside, because that's the way, me, I live my life virtually, literally. So even when things changed a couple of months ago, um, it didn't affect me. It didn't affect my business. And I'm teaching you the way I live my business, right? That's why you hired me as a mentor, so that
Right.
I can show you what works for me. I don't have an office. Everything is done virtually. Yeah, I have
Right.
18 team members between both my businesses, but everything, whenever you see me, I'm home. I don't need a big fancy office. We're
Right.
keeping 80% of our profits, right? I don't have a huge staff that needs to come to an office every single day and suck up time and money out of my pocket. I keep most of my profit, right? In addition to keeping most of my profit, I also, although I have the team, they're all 1099, so they really work for themselves,
Right.
right? So, I love the fact that you said you can be anywhere in the world, because that's exactly what we've been accomplishing over the past couple months. While everyone else is trying to scramble and figure out, how are they going to adjust and pivot their business, quote unquote, which is the new key word.
Right.
We're out here getting deals done, man. So let's talk about some of the hurdles you had to face. So within the first week, let's talk about that deal that you got immediately within the first week of signing up into the mentorship program.
Yeah. Caboose Court.
Yeah.
After really spending time with talking to all my friends, families, and loved ones, and telling them about my direction and where I was going, I was referred early on, like you said, in my first week, this deal that sounded like a gold mine. Even though I was still scared and didn't know what to do, I knew numbers, and I knew from the little bit that I knew that it made sense. And so after reaching out to you and me and you discussing everything, and you kind of giving me the steps to take to get going, I reached out to the seller, and he wasn't easy. It actually took about 3 to 4 days before I was able to get him to commit and sign the contract. But nonetheless, that within itself was a lesson being learned, and something that, again, you're forever telling us and the other students, which is consistency and follow-up. And because of the consistency and the follow-up to stand on this individual, regardless of how inconsistent he was being, it was my mission to stay consistent, to let him know I'm serious about wanting his business. Eventually, we was able to get him to commit to the contract. We went out, we took pictures of the home, we did all our homework, we did our research, we posted the property, and started getting very legit interest in the home. Well, it was one of those things, like each week it was something different, something new. I got this going on, and I got this lien on the home, and then we, so we adjusted that and adjusted our approach and said, okay, we can deal with that. And then we come back. Well, guess what? Well, I took a small business loan out, so now we realized that he got an additional lien on the house. And right then, I'm like, you got to be kidding me! My first deal, first one out. Is this what I really signed up for?
Let's stop there for a second. How were you feeling at that point? So
I
we
was on
had
the
a
emotional
deal.
roller coaster.
You say that again?
I was on the emotional roller coaster.
That's right.
Did I
And
make
I remember
the right
that.
decision?
I remember that. It's your first week. You made fast progress. This is a deal that you found. What were you driving for dollars?
No, this was actually one that was sent to me by a close friend all the way in DC. He referred it to me. Yeah.
Gotcha. So so you put it out there. You told everybody what you were doing. This referral came through a friend.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you told them what you were doing at that point. Had a deal. It looked on paper when we initially analyzed the deal, this was going to be a nice size profit.
Right.
Like what was it, $40,000, $50,000 or something like that?
Nah, it was going to be about
60,000.
Yeah.
Right. So $60,000 profit. So you're immediately feeling great about this.
Yeah.
And then
like I'm about to get a ROI immediately. I'm about to be able to really put profits into my business and scale it. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, this ain't even 30 days in. I mean, I should have been did this.
Right.
And then the bottom fell out.
Right. So we found out he had a third mortgage on the property. And he ended up starting to fade out of the deal after the fact, right?
Right.
So we didn't close the deal. And although we probably, do we still have that on the contract?
The contract time on has probably expired at this point, but we just let it fade on out. He's actually making attempts to contact, he's very sporadic where I reach out to him, he won't answer. And then out the blue, he'll just contact me saying, hey, what are we going to do? Or what are we doing? Or where are we at? So he realized that he has no more options. Let me kind of revert back to the individuals who were initially trying to help me to begin with, only to find out that, hey, it's nowhere to go unless you want to allow us the opportunity to put somebody in here and let the equity rebuild in the house again.
Right, exactly. And that was one of the options that it was a creative solution that we came up with. And we're just kind of waiting for him through the follow-up process at this point. So then you went through a period of nothing really happening, right? What was happening through your mind during that time frame?
Is this where I should be back online looking for an 8 to 5? It was easy to kind of want to revert back because I wasn't getting any traction. But that was the good thing about having you around. That was the good thing about the mastermind. That was the good thing about having like-minded individuals around you. And if it's, and I know we're going to do that at the end, but while we on it, if it's one thing that I can give to anybody, you got to have some like-minded individuals around you, because you alone in this new place, this world of the unknown, you're going to get on that emotional roller coaster. And one of the things you're going to do is want to revert back to what you know. And that's going to get that 8 to 5, that 9 to 5, and going to work for somebody again, for them to tell you when to go to lunch, when you can leave, when you can go to vacation, when you can go to your child's basketball game, or whatever the case may be. It's easy to revert back to that because that's all you know. And for me, just being around individuals that keep saying, hey, I've been there. This happened to me. Same thing happened to me. Your story ain't new, but just stay at it. Stay at it. Keep doing. And I always could hear your voice every day. Just do something to help your business. So if it's no more than handing out a card, if it's no more than driving for dollars, if it's no more than going to put your sign out, every single day, do something to help impact your business. And I just stayed with that, and I just saw my way through it.
That's right, man. And that's one of my philosophies I learned down on Wall Street. You know, if you can just add one thing to your business every single day, there's no way you're going to fail. It's just forward progress every day. You know, so excellent, man. So we came across this deal in Virginia. We ended up creating a creative solution with the seller. And
Right.
it ended up being, what is it, $101,000 deal. And if you decide
And
to, did you ever split the land up on this deal, by the way?
and actually they're in discussion with it. When we closed out everything with the initial deal, we let them know, hey, the lot is
Available?
adjacent to another lot that actually is owned by the seller. It's available if you want it. If not, we are going to put it for sale, but we would love for you to have it. And they're very interested in wanting to move forward with acquiring that lot.
At what price point did you have that?
It's going to be right around about 15.
15,000. Okay, so it'll end up being $116,000 deal total, roughly.
Yep.
So let's talk about this, man. You know, this is your first official deal. The first one could have
Right.
been big, right? 60,000. That
Right.
fell apart, right? But here's another one that's on the plate, and it has. Well, this is not. It doesn't have the potential. It is
Right.
$116,000 deal, man.
Right.
So let's talk about the numbers on this a bit. So
Okay.
we got this. This is another referral. Would you,
Yep.
right? Another
Yep.
referral. And so let's talk about the seller situation. What was going on with the seller situation at the time?
This the seller was um basically tired of the home. The seller had fallen into a situation where she was affected by the COVID. Her company was affected by it, where she initially was losing income. She took a reduction in pay. And then later on, she found out that she was going to be furloughed. And she was just at a place where she just got tired of sinking every dime that she had into a situation where she knew it wasn't no light at the end. And she was really looking for her exiting strategy, and just said that she threw up her hands, was like, I'm throwing in the towel on it. And so when that was brought to my attention, first thing when I heard that, my mind just started rolling like, hey, I want to try out some of these new shiny things I just learned. And it sounds like a prime opportunity. And what I love about it is that even though I had a personal relationship with the seller, I still had to sell that individual just like they was a stranger. For the simple fact that they knew that I was new to the industry. They knew this was something that I just started. And I wouldn't change that for nothing for the world, because they helped me sharpen my skills for the next stranger that I actually run across. And I got to be quick on my feet, and I got to know what I'm talking about. I probably spent 35 to 40 minutes, like really, really selling this person like we never even knew each other. But in the end, because I was so passionate about saying, hey, give me a shot. Give me 30 days. Give me 45 days. If I can't bring a buyer to the table, then you're free to go ahead and go back to your original plan. But I feel confident that I know I can be a solution to your problem. And she gave me that shot. And I would love to read to you her message to me just the other day.
Please do.
Just want to thank you again for everything you did. I know you went through hell at times to make it happen, and I will forever be grateful. Again, thank you.
Wow, man. How does that make you feel?
Hey, that was worth everything to me. That was absolutely worth, because what it did was that it just validated that I made the right choice. That regardless that I'm making good money, and I'm able to still be able to provide my family with the life that we had prior to me walking away from corporate America. But one of my whys, which was whatever I do, I want to be able to help people. I'm still able to help people.
Which is,
And that was
I think
awesome.
people forget that, George. People forget
Yeah.
You know, I got into the real estate business to help people, right? And this wasn't clear to me at first, but over time, as I'm helping homeowners out of this situation and they're sending me letters like the one that you just received, it was clear to me that I really, truly do want to help people. And that was another reason why I got into the education business, to truly help people. That's why I put out YouTube videos to help people, right? We're in the helping people business, the problem solving business. If we can help somebody get ahead, then it's always going to keep us ahead as well, man.
Right.
So that was
Right.
that's huge right there, that the seller wrote that letter to you. So
Yeah.
initially the house is about a $300,000 house, would you say?
Yep. Close to it.
So you said the seller owed about $120,000 on his property, right? Now with
Yeah.
that,
Right
with
at
that
about 120,000.
120,000. And let me ask you this. So it was 120,000. Did I get the ARV wrong? Was it 300 or was it less?
It was at 290. Right at 290.
290. Okay. So we ended up
Yeah.
structuring a deal with the seller. We put some things in place to where we
I'm
basically.
sorry, Jamel. You're correct. It was 390. We posted it for 299.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we posted it for 299. You said, was it?
Yep. Yep.
All right. And the seller owed 120, or was it 220?
120.
120 on a deal. Okay. So we worked this deal out to where we would take over the property from the seller. And once we take over the property, we basically put the property back up for lease option. So we put the property up for, what was it, 299?
Yep.
And ended up finding a buyer for this particular property. So the seller owed 120. We ended up finding a buyer for it on a lease purchase. You want to tell us a little bit about how those numbers worked out?
We was able to have the buyers come in, agree to terms. We had them come in at 10,000 down. The original mortgage on the property was right at about 923, 924. We was able to get it set up at 1,500 a month. And then at the end, the term is set up for 3 years. And then at the end of the 3 years, if not before, when they qualify for a mortgage, then they'll pay us out the remaining difference. And this is with them still each month paying down the actual existing principal on the home.
Right. So let me reiterate that for you. So we had $10,000 up front.
Yep.
Okay. There's a little over $500 a month in positive cash flow on this property for
Correct.
3 years.
Yep.
So if you do the math, that's right around
about
what?
$18,000.
$18,000. So that's immediately $28,000 in profit. Then
Yep.
on the back end, when you sell, there's going to be about what, $73,000 in profit, was it?
If not more, the home after if it goes the full 3-year term, that 18,000 from the 120, that's going to put the home around about 85. So it's going to be that 85 to the 189, which is the sale price. And we set this deal up with no monthly credit off the monthly rent.
No monthly credit off the rent. So there's in essence going to be about $116 to $118,000.
Somewhere around there. Yep. That me and the owner will split.
Right. So half of that will be yours and half goes to the seller. So initially, if you take the gross profit, we're looking at it, let's round it up to $120,000.
Yeah.
You make 60, the seller makes 60 over a course of 3 years. Payment up front, you get money every single month, and then you get money on the back end. Gross profit 120,000, split with the seller, 60,000 net in your pocket. How does that make you feel?
Yes, sir. That feels absolutely wonderful. I'm ready for the next one.
And I remember when you called me about this. How did you feel calling me about this situation and we came up with a solution?
I felt good in my decision making. And I mean, for the fact that I knew that I took my time and I made the right decision, because I picked a mentor where it didn't matter what was on the table. I had somebody that was able to help me out and give me a solution to any scenario where it's rare that we're able to walk away from a deal. And even in our short time together, we've pretty much seen a lot already from our first 2 deals. I mean, every single scenario you can come up with has come my way. But the thing is, whenever I picked up the phone and I've called you, it has never been a head scratcher for you. Like, well, I don't know what direction to point you. You always had a solution for me. So that even further validated that I made the right decision as far as with a mentor and a business partner. And it feels good to me that going forward, I know it don't matter what the situation is, I got somebody that can always point me in the right direction and come up with a way to make that deal work.
So in essence, you were taking advantage of my 20 years of experience in the business.
That is correct, because initially when I looked at the videos, the only thing I was listening to was wholesale, 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 wholesale. And I was just hooked on that. Well, that 10,000, that 12,000, that 15,000, and people average from wholesale deals where I really limited my possibility and my worth. And because this right here is like we talked about the other week. Like, if I could do all my deals like this is the way I would want to go.
That's right.
With terms.
You know why people on YouTube and a lot of newer investors, probably within the last 5 years, we've seen a large influx of newer investors. But the reason why they push wholesaling is because it really is the easiest thing to teach, right? But it's not always the most lucrative thing to do in your business, right? So if you have a one-track, anybody, I've known people who blew up on YouTube just from teaching wholesaling, and they really lack the real education of what real estate investing is all about. I've seen people literally blow up overnight and build a huge following, and now they look like this big real estate investor, when in reality, are they really this big real estate investor, or are they just a big time YouTuber or an info provider? But when you have multiple streams of income under your belt, multiple ways, multiple exit strategies under your belt, no matter what the facet is that we're focusing on in real estate, that's where your true experience comes in to play. And I'm not saying that to put anybody on the spot, to each his own. But for you guys listening, be careful who you listen to. I'm not saying that they're providing you with terrible advice, because wholesaling is the way to go. But what happens if you have to come up with a creative solution to do a deal? You don't want to leave money on the table. That's all I'm saying. So you accomplished this deal.
Right now in this environment where you got a lot of people who have lost their jobs or have taken reduction in pay, you got a lot of people that's not going to qualify for a mortgage right now. So what do you do for that individual? If you don't know terms and you don't know other exit strategies, how do you help that individual? They still gainfully employed. They still got income coming in. They may not have as much, or they may be in transition. And right now, the banks don't care about none of that. They're not going to give you a loan. So do you deprive these individuals that's still good potential buyers for you, that in 2 or 3 years, they'll be back on their feet and they'll be good to go, because you don't know other exit strategies to present to them? Because that's exactly what we just did. Prime example, the buyers that we ended up with, they were actually qualified.
Hold on a second there, George. How did you find the buyer? And let's talk about their situation as well.
Okay. We posted the property on Craigslist, and our plateau that's new to everybody, this awesome Investor Deal Pro. We had it out there on our plateaus for everybody to take a look at it and see it. It started off slow. Initially, we had a bunch of investors, that was looking at it, and for a while, I was like, well, maybe we might just need to go that route and take that. And I remember he was like, no, let's just stay patient with it. And it was like, all of a sudden, the floodgates just opened, and I still got the property posted. Matter of fact, I just got 2 last night. Want to know the property was still available. And so we just started getting offer after offer. I got the 10,000. I got 15,000. I got 20,000. I can do 1,500 a month. I can do 16. I can do 25. So I remember that mastermind call like yesterday, where we was like, man, this is an environment where we don't know if somebody gonna have 20,000 to put down. We don't know if they're gonna have 15, but this is somebody new, and you told us stay the course, like they out there. And even when you were saying that, I was still like, I don't know. You said they out there, and sure enough, they were out there. So the buyers, she saw the ad online. We connected. I
And
started giving up.
let's pause there for a second. The reason why I was telling you that is because I've been through a recession already. I've done this, the first recession. So I knew what to expect this time around. Now, granted, this is a different situation we're in,
Right.
but history tells me that if we just stay the course, it all works out in the end. That's kind of why and that's where, again, the experience comes into play, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you would have had a mentor who just came into the business not so long ago, they probably wouldn't have been able to tell you the same thing.
Take that wholesale deal.
I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I'm just saying the experience. I've done a lot of deals. I'm still doing deals, even right now. We just closed 2 the other day. The whole point is the experience comes into play, and that's why I'm glad that you were willing to listen to the information, and look at what happened at the end. Right. You found her on Craigslist. She contacted
Found
you.
them on Craigslist. We got in contact with each other. Everything sounded good to them. The only thing is that the buyers were out of town. So that was another dilemma, which was, what happens if these people get here and it's not what they expected, not what they thought. Then this becomes another issue, and internally it just didn't feel right to me to have somebody make this giant of an investment without at least, beyond the pictures, setting their foot and their eyes in and on the property to assure that this is what I want. And so we actually took a pause because the deal was moving right along, and I knew it was a very healthy investment. And again, this is one of them things about wanting to establish my brand the right way, which was I could have easily rushed them in there and not thought about it from that angle, and it could have went south for me, or I could have lost the deal. But because I knew I was doing the right thing, I want to do the right thing. We're preached and taught by you, which is your reputation in this business and your name is everything. Take care of your seller. Take care of your buyer. Take care of your team. Anybody that refers, anybody that looks out for you, or anybody, take care of them. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that without a shadow of a doubt, when they give me this money and when they sign this contract, I know this is what I want. That's and right, so we made arrangements. We actually paused the deal to make arrangements for them to get family members and things over to the property to see it, to walk through it. And they just reconfirmed what we already knew, which was it was a great home. So when she got that okay from her mother-in-law and from her family, we proceeded with everything. We had to do the research to find an attorney, title company in Virginia, which was a little challenge, but that was another lesson learned. It was also more tools in the tool belt, and now I'm starting to build relationships with people that's going to be very, very helpful to my business moving forward in this market.
And you have buyers lined up for new properties now too, because of this.
That as well. I'm staying in contact with that pipeline of individuals. Still don't have anything. I'm steady looking. Want to make sure you're still interested. Even if I run across something that I can't directly help you with, I'll make sure I point you in the right direction so you and your family will be taken care of. So we got the deal done. We finally met. It took us about 30 days or so. It took, I mean, and it's just because of the circumstance, everything's done virtually. I was long distance, they was long distance. You know, the home is in Virginia, we're here in North Carolina, but we were still able to make everything happen. Still able to
Excellent.
make everything happen.
So you completed your first deal, man. How does it make you feel?
It makes me feel really, really good to know that I applied myself. It makes me feel really good to be able to look back at your wife and your family to be like, thank you for believing in me. I know that it was a stretch, but you hung in there with me, and to know that I came through. I came through on my promise.
So you know, that's important, because it's important for me to respect how my wife feels as well. How does your wife feel about it?
To be able to, and I took her with me because I'm going to meet a couple. I was like, you know, I want to make sure I have my wife with me to make the situation seem even, make it feel comfortable. It was my first time meeting her husband, because it was just really me and his wife, that was talking the whole deal. You know, so I wanted to make sure, I was looking forward to meeting her husband, but just
Smart move.
right. I want to bring my wife so you can meet her as well. You know, because we're a team. You know, we're a team. That's my partner. And also, I want her to be around the business to feel a part of it. And, you know, because my goal is one day, you know, this was just going back to the beginning. One of my whys is to retire my wife. You know, I want to bring her home from corporate America, and we make this money together.
Love it, man. Love it, man. So you've experienced a lot within the first 90 days of, you know, from the thought of even being in the business to actually closing your first deal.
Right.
What would be some words of wisdom that you would give to people who are on the fence with getting started, or maybe even, and I'm not making this about mentorship or joining my mastermind or anything like that, but what if someone's thinking about it? What would you tell these people?
If you're on the fence, get off of it and don't walk, run. Take action. You know, one thing we preach at REI, take massive action. Don't just take any kind of action, take massive action. Go get it. It's out there to be had. You know, don't worry about how saturated your market may be. Don't worry about how many other investors may be out there. Know that your uniqueness will shine if you let it. You go out there and get what's yours. Because what's for you is for you. It don't matter who else is out there doing it. Do you think that Wendy's, Red Robin, anybody else said, well, McDonald's been here for years, they got the hamburger industry sold up, so I'm not going to do it? No. They went out there and said, I'm going to compete. And that's how I'm built. Let's go compete. Let's put our starting five on the court against the next man's starting five, and let's go do it. That's what I get to them. Get yourself around some strong individuals with a strong mindset that's going to build you up when you get on that emotional roller coaster, because you're going to have it. But to just have somebody say, hey, I've been there. I know what you're talking about. Let me get now. I got testimony to say to the next person, to the new beginner. You know, let me tell you my stories about what happened when I first started, but I'm still here. And I came out on the other side, and I'm better for it. Just stick with it and take massive action every single day.
Love it, man. How important was the mastermind, the coaching? How important was this program in your success?
Oh, it's very instrumental, and it still is, you know, because again, to see the newbies come on, knowing that I was just there just 90 days ago, and being able to get words of wisdom from those that's a year, 2, 3 years into the program, where for me as a newbie coming in, it was important to hear success stories of others that came before me.
Because it's easy to hear it from me, right? It's easy to hear it from me, but when you hear it from other people, that makes the difference, doesn't it?
Right, it does. You know, because it lets you know that this is attainable. I just gotta put the work in.
That's it.
I just gotta put the work in.
And that's,
you know, it ain't gonna come easy. You know, so if you're getting in this for get rich that, you know, you think you're gonna snap your fingers, it's gonna happen. No, you gotta go put some work in. You know, and you can't be afraid to be. And if you're an individual with soft skin, that folds, if you hear the word no, this ain't gonna be the business for you.
This ain't the business for you. I love that, man. Because, and that's one thing I will say, You know, a lot of people expect they invest into a coaching program or some type of program, and they expect the educator or the coach to do the work for them.
Right.
That's not what it's about. The coach is
Right.
there to guide you. The coach is looking at your business from a bird's eye view. You have to put in the work, right?
Right.
So the coach is not there to do the work for you.
Right.
He's there to guide you. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, George came in swinging with both hands and made things happen, that he made my job that much easier. And that's why he has the success that he has right now. First deal, close to $120,000 on his first deal. Now, granted, yes, it's not $120,000 check, but
Right.
it's $10,000 up front, $500 in cash flow every month,
Right.
and then a huge check, over $70,000, $80,000 on the back end.
Yes, sir.
Huge deal. Most people will not accomplish that on their first deal. I'm not saying that you guys watching, I'm not saying that that's going to happen for you, but anything is possible when you throw enough fishing lines into the water. So get out there, like George said. This is something I've been preaching for years. Take massive action if you want massive results. Any last words of wisdom for our listeners, George?
I just want to echo what you said. Make sure that you do your homework. If you're looking at getting into this industry, do your homework on whoever you choose to be your mentor, be your coach. Do your homework on them. You know, the proof is in the pudding. Do your homework on them. If you're uncertain about what direction that you want to go, hey, come over to REI. You know, what I can tell you is that I've gotten way beyond what I've paid out of working with Jamel. 7 days a week, 24/7. I call him Saturday, I call him Sunday, I call him early, I call him late. And he comes through for me. You know, and I don't know, I can't speak for nobody else, but I don't know if you're going to get that somewhere else. And I'm not saying that ain't nobody else out there doing it. What I'm saying is that I'm telling you for a fact that I know that this man will. And it's been a joy working with him. And I look forward to us closing a lot of deals going forward.
Oh man, we just getting started, brother. But look,
yeah.
man, I really appreciate those kind words, man. And I appreciate you jumping on the call and sharing your experiences of what it's like to work with the REI Education Academy and me.
Appreciate you having me.
Obviously, Jamel Gibbs. But listen, guys, you know, the point of this podcast was to encourage you to get out there and do what I know this business can do for you. Take advantage of what I know this business can provide for you. Get out there, take massive action in order to get massive results. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one.